Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm finally bringing you the much requested and anticipated nail video. Alright, so this is going to be a little choppy and I apologize in advance because this is my first time filming at this angle. So I did use the McCart medium coffin tips. So I'm just showing you quickly here how I size them, which is really just I open the bag, I lay the nail over my nail, find one that fits from sidewall to sidewall of the nail, so it's not too big, not too small, and I do that for all 10 nails. Don't assume that both hands are identical. Immediately after that, I do go right into the filing process. So you'll notice every single nail has this little like tip on the edge where it was either connected to something. So I file that down with a regular medium grit file, and then I buff the top. You do this because I work primarily in gel polish. Gel polish needs something to stick to, so if it's not grooved, nothing will stick. So you want to make sure you take the shine off of the nail, and by making sure there's no shine on the nail and nothing is super, super smooth, it'll keep your gel polish from peeling off. Now, another thing that didn't make it on because the footage didn't work, when I'm done with this, I do take a little bit of an alcohol wipe and wipe down the surface, and then I put on a thin coat of base coat and cure that for a minute. I did miss that footage, so I went right into the Awesome Color polish. This is from the Awesome Color by McCart Fall Set. This video is not sponsored, they just sent me a big PR package, so I wanted to play with as much of it as humanly possible. Now, the key to getting your gel polish to look beautiful is working in small, small, thin coats. Now, you'll notice I put a very small amount of polish on the nail, and then I'm taking my time to make sure that I have covered every single area, and I am continuing to move that polish around the nail itself without adding more, because if it is too thick, it will start to bubble or ripple under the nail, or it won't cure, and underneath the dry nail polish, you will have forever wet nail polish, and nobody wants that. And it does look like I'm going over this a lot because I am. I want to make sure that it is perfectly covered every single way. Now, the good thing about gel polish is it's something called self-leveling, which means as long as you make sure it's a smooth, even amount everywhere, it will kind of settle into a smooth finish. You know how sometimes when you use regular nail polish, you get those little bumps or grooves if you put it on too thick in one area? You shouldn't have that issue if you're using gel, as long as you're making sure there's an even layer. Obviously, you can put a blob on there and it can not perfectly cure, but that does come when you put way too much and it'll ripple and bubble like I said earlier. So within this, you just want to make sure that you're taking your time, and notice I'm almost stamping the tip of the nail with the nail polish brush. That is capping the free edge. What that basically means is if the edge is not capped and you don't put polish over the tip of the nail, you might bump the nail on something and it'll cause the polish to start to peel off the nail, even if you spent all that time buffing the surface of it. So I do like to just cap the free edge to make sure that nothing is going to contribute to making this peel prematurely. Now I cure that for 2 minutes in the lamp, and you'll notice, and I do point it out right here, I was a little thick on one of the nails, and in the center of that pointer finger nail, you'll see there's a little bit of a ripple. I did touch it off camera. It was fully cured. It just was a little bit thick, so it's not going to affect this design. Plus, I'm going to be putting a polish over it anyway, so it won't really cause an issue. But if I was doing a solid color and you were going to see that, I would have either gone over this with another base coat and then did another coat of the orange, or more than likely I would have thrown the nail away and just made a fresh nail at the end. Now, you guys have already seen, but I'm really just putting another thin coat over it. I did only go in with 2 coats because I didn't want the orange to be super, super opaque. I did want it to be a little bit see-through, just so that when it catches the light against the black, because you guys see what it's going to be at the end, I wanted the black to be a lot harsher, so by having a softer orange, that was going to be the case. And then even with this second coat, I am making sure that I'm going slowly, I'm capping the free edge, and every time you see me go towards the bottle, notice I'm not dunking in, I'm just wiping whatever polish I've pulled off of the nail onto the bottle so that I can pull it off without it being too thick. Then I did cure that for another 2 minutes and went in with the Awesome Color by McCart top coat. Now, I have used this top coat a few times now because I did do 2 sets before this one. And what I will say is compared to other gel top coats, it's very thin, which means that it will cover very nicely and it's easy to spread. But I do notice that I get quite a bit on the brush. So notice how many times I'm going back to the bottle and just wiping that excess back in. Now, this is why you want to make sure that your polish is perfectly cured because I don't want any orange getting into that bottle. But notice every time I do a nail, and at that point off camera, I did actually wipe the brush to make sure I wasn't getting any orange on it. I wasn't. But I do want to make sure to go slow and make sure I hit every single nail. Obviously, this footage is sped up just to make life easier, but I did make sure to take my time and go nice and slowly, and apparently here, I hit my head on the tripod. And in between every single coat of polish, gel polish, top coat, whatever, I made sure that before I cured it, I gave it a minute to sit there, just so that gel polish leveled beautifully. Then grabbing some striping tape, I am going to put striping tape on all of the nails. Because I'm going for an abstract geometric and no 2 nails were the same, I basically just arbitrarily put the tape on the nail. I pushed it on, and then with my finger, because it's top coat, I can touch it. I just pressed it onto the nail, and I did that for all 10 nails, making sure that they were all a little bit different so that they would look really interesting. I didn't want it to be super, uniform, nor did I want any of the 2 to be the same. And I did definitely take my time with this, even after I did it off camera. I did move a few of the strings around, and then actually after I painted them, I did kind of swap which finger went on which hand, because one hand had a lot of black and the other hand had a lot of orange, and I wanted it to be a healthy mix of the 2. And one thing to remember about striping tape over top coat is you want to make sure the top coat is fully cured, and then you want to make sure that you've really pressed that tape onto the full surface of the nail. If you leave any gaps anywhere, the polish will get underneath and you won't have a super clean line. Obviously, it's not the end of the world because I ended up using a stamping polish, not a gel polish. A stamping polish is the polish you use when you're doing a stamp, and you'll see that in a little bit. I used the Born Pretty black stamping polish. The reason I use that is it's quick dry. If you get it on the nail, you can use a little bit of alcohol to wipe it up. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not super comfortable using the gel polish with the striping tape yet, because I always find I have a little bit of bleeding. With the stamping polish, because it's a little bit thicker, I find I don't have as much of an issue really getting that nice clean line once I peel it off. And another issue that I did end up having, just so that you guys can see, and I'm going to be fully transparent with you, some of the footage cut out and I was working out of frame because, again, this is my first time working with this tripod set up to film this, so I promise the next time you'll be able to see a little bit more clearly. But because I did do the thumb on camera, you'll be able to see that. So I took that stamping polish I mentioned, I put a decent amount on it, and I paint the area of the nail under that striping tape. And then with the tip of the brush, I just kind of push up towards that polish line. So that way, when I peel off the blue tape, it is a really clean, really precise line. Now, the thing with the striping polish is it does dry very quickly, and it is a little on the thicker side, which I think is great when you're working with striping tape. So you do want to make sure that you work quickly for each nail. You give it about 10 seconds after you finish it, and then peel the tape off by going in a straight line to give yourself a clean edge. Then, once I give each of the nails about 3 to 5 minutes to dry, I'm going to top all of them with one last coat of the glossy top coat. Again, I'm using the same one from Awesome Color. And notice I did get a little bit of that stamping polish on my finger. That comes right off with isopropyl alcohol. But super simple, just one clean layer of top coat, and you are good to go. Now, you'll notice I went very slow on the first nail because if that black is not completely dry, you will get black polish in your top coat, and nobody wants that because it will streak up the whole nail. Cure that for 2 minutes, and you are done. I will make sure to do a video soon on how I apply them, but thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.